Good morning, everyone, and welcome to DS9 Reactions with Fred Kasdan. I am, of course, Fred Kasdan. For those who are new here, I basically am doing a watch through of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. We're in season one, and we're up to episode 12. This week, the episode in question will be Vortex. What I remember about this episode, as it's the first uh name dropping of the changeling, so we know what species Odo is beyond just being a shapeshifter. It's an episode that has a bit of an extended trip into the Delta Quadrant that really hasn't been seen yet at this point in DS9's run, if memory serves me correctly. Um, but it's an episode that does a lot to establish quite a few things about Odo, as well as some Quark shenanigans. Guest character being kind of like a center to the plot as well. Someone that Quark hires to do a deed that leads to arrested and everything. Necklace pendant thing with a bit of a plot twist with the dude with the guest character's daughter at the very end. But these are things that again I remember off the top of my head regarding this particular episode. I remember a lot of the major plot beats, but I don't remember a lot of the ins and outs of the episode itself. I don't remember if this episode had a B plot or anything. Now, again, if you're new here, as I watch the episode, I will have like a running commentary conversation. So basically speaking with you as I'm watching the episode in question. That's basically how I like to do things. And as far as the fluttering and stuff that you're seeing back there, it is very, very hot at the time of recording this. Nearly 80 degrees in the middle of the damn night. So I got a fan on and it blows that thing. The cool air. Gotta keep that cool air. You also the so this way you know you can follow along here. It's blurred out for DMCA purposes and things of that nature. And we don't know how Skydance is gonna fuck with stuff like this since they got approval to purchase Paramount. We'll worry about that when we worry about it. Station log. It was a Tuesday. The usual Odo. Nothing. Yeah, that's all he has. Odo likes to, I kind of suspect Odo rolls into Quark just to have a conversation with Quark, but to also like throw out like some information and stuff, or like throw that volume there. The tingy. But what was I about to say here? It's like Odo rolls into Quarks basically to throw out some information, and it's just like throw like a what's the word I'm looking for with an investigator? It's like it's a fishing line. Like throws down a bit of dialogue and see what Quark knows and see pick up and some stuff. And there's our guest character, nice little alien prosthetics with bumps in the heads. But Quark, he's a bit of a nefarious character, but the banter is there. There's like the whole banter between Quark and Odo. If you've never seen like old westerns, and if you're in an area that has me TV, they often air a lot of westerns, and you often will see like the banters between the sheriff and like the bartender, stuff like that. Just to see get the lay of the land or like what's going on if there's like some new people rolling into, such as with these two twins that just strolled in. Look at Quark, they're not at Quark. They're heading straight up to the second level. Like a pair of Miradorn. Miradorn as an alien species doesn't quite work as a name for a bunch of aliens, but as a name of a character, Miradorn. It's like you would think it's like some type of character that you would see running like in the Star Wars universe. but one thing that Quark says here is like that the paranoia must run through Odo's species. He's not too far off considering the history of the changelings and stuff, which we will get a little history on here with our main protagonist. No, not our protagonist, but our guest character. And Rom setting the tray and stuff. We all know Odo is a shapeshifter. He's a changeling. And there were 4 glasses, but now there are 5. How many glasses are there? There are 4. No, there are 5. Rodenjack into this like, I get the appearance fee. So as the credits are rolling here. I made mention it too. Like at the time I'm recording this, Skydance has basically got permission to buy Paramount. And the timing of that, with the sudden cancellation of the Late Show with Stephen Colbert, basically the ending of a franchise that was started on CBS thanks to David Letterman leaving NBC back in '93. And if you know anything about the ownership of Skydance, they're a bunch of Trump-loving, MAGA hat wearing, conservative douchebags. And if you think Star Trek was bad, with with how things were going with Paramount, Viacom, CBS, and everything, if you thought Star Trek was bad over the course of about the last 10 years or so, with the Discovery, Lower Decks, Strange New Worlds, and what, you ain't seen nothing yet. You now, it's like Star Trek is going to be we're probably looking at the death of Star Trek by and large as a franchise anyone recognizes thanks to the merger. And again, off topic here again, like the credits are rolling, the opening credits and stuff. So but it's gonna be real freaking interesting. As you could possibly can almost say goodbye to like a lot of any actors working for Paramount again, unless the money's right, which is often the case. 1,000 bars of gold plus platinum. That's a lot of bars. All for a Fabergé egg that essentially that you would see in Octopussy, which I actually rewatched recently. Is like one of the better one of the last truly good Bond film. Of course, I say that because James Bond films kind of like fell off a cliff, as far as I'm concerned, after Die Another Day. That's the last good James Bond. Quark wants a receipt. He's a Ferengi. He wants a paper trail when he's paying something out. And this dude just wanders in there like, don't fire. What do you want? Just give him the thing. Dude walks in with a weapon. He's right there. It's not going to be the first time he's made a mistake, and it won't be the last time he made a mistake. Case in point, he just took a table to the face. And you know what? That morphing effect from the glass into Odo's gooey form and him reconstituted, it's kind of perfect. But it does raise the question of how long it takes him to transform, because he was still in the process of reforming. He was still morphing into his like humanoid form when he grabs the our guest character here. And you know what's also kind of interesting? Odo never gets his ass kicked. Odo is better than Worf when it comes to being like a head of security. Everybody's being dragged to security. Bashir showing up with his medical kit. You know what? And I just actually, those who watched my Twitch stream, like a couple weeks ago, I completed the whole first wave of the DS9 figure. I got like a mint condition Bashir with his medical kit and stuff in my collection. Also one of Dax. Should have brought those down, but I have them hanging up in my living room. Now, the Mirador being like they're twins, and they're two halves of the same being. Like so, so would that mean that's a they're a good half, they're a good twin or a bad twin? That raises some question. A whole lot of yelling, and you know who's going to win a yelling contest? It's going to be Cisco. Contact contest words. The law. You know what? Judge Dredd would deal with this in a very short order. Because his only purpose in life from this point is to get revenge. No, if memory serves me right, he doesn't make it out. He doesn't make it to the end credits. If memory serves me correctly. Yeah, there's no evidence to hold Quark. He was curious about it being a stolen object. It's like he knew it was stolen. Rodin's the dude's name. And Ferengi phasers are easy to come by. Now's not a good time to chime in here. It's like, how dare you suggest that my brother was trying to set up this robbery? Yeah, hell of a theory, Rom. It's like, oh boy, you know what? I still think it's Rom. You know what? I know the smart Rom is a lot smarter than he comes across, but at the same time, think about it. Considering that he, was trying to kill Quark in the previous episode, the Nagus. What we have here was Rom is like, you know what? He's still trying to get Quark in trouble. Case in point, if it's it was either him or him. It was like the guy he killed and whatnot, and it's like, and now he's hungry. Simple as that. And you know what? If you're holding a holding cell, you dudes need to be fed. It's like standard issue. On Rakar, every crime is serious. There are no trials. Jaywalking, penalty is death. Littering, death. Blowing your nose, death. Scratching yourself, death. Notice that this is in private. It's just in public. No, it's just scratching yourself. It's death on Ricard. That's what it is. Changeling. Changeling with versatility. What do you mean it's a lie? Oh yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's like, yeah, he overheard him speaking to Quark. It's like that's one thing or another. But he's from the Gamma Quadrant, and Odo's saying that, oh, it's a lie. It's like Odo's suspicious nature and everything, and justice and everything. That's all ingrained with what the changelings are. Especially when you understand that their backstories, that they were chased around, and like over time, this is like, you know what? We're tired of being chased around by Solid. Here, how are they wrong? Gonna thank us? No, Kira has a unique point. Kira being a non-federation, it's like it's gonna have unique perspectives. Like, okay, if a criminal has been caught and like they were notorious somewhere and done all sorts of things, it's like, yeah, thank you. It's like, yeah, throw them in the in your brig as like, or whatever it is. Look, Odo does not need an excuse to increase security. All he needs is permission. He have a security camera in every one of Quark's orifices. Odin is an interesting character. It's like an Odo knows how to bribe for an investigation. Huge difference from what we see with Worf, because we never really see Worf on the Next Generation actually conduct an investigation outside of what was it, the drumhead. Morn, have a shot. Have a shot for Morn. Do I have something to drink down here? I do. Have a shot. Hello. Work feeling sorry for people. That's a stretch. But at the same time, Quark is a nice guy. We know Quark is a nice guy. He sold medical supplies to the Bajorans at just a bit above cost, so he could profit a bit there. But he didn't try to exploit them. But he was a nice dude. Where Odin is not going to talk about anything about himself. He speaks business. Yeah, because no other species in the Gamma Quadrant. It's interesting that Odo is trying to get this, find out uh what Odin's conversation with Quark is. And Quark is in his way. It looks like he's trying to put together. It's like, why would Odo care? But here's the thing with the Miradorn. It's like if the other dudes are from his ship, how come they don't have the same makeup? Unless his ship is made up of different species. You on the promenade again, he'll lock you up. Otherwise, he can't lock you up. He'll toss you out the airlock. Hey, look, Rodin's been fed. A plate. You know what's funny? It was like you look at futuristic dishes on like Star on Deep Space Nine and Voyager especially. There's like a lot of the plates and stuff like that are like typical like are essentially things you will use for like reusable dishes and plastic dishes and stuff now. Stuff used for like TV dinners and to various degrees. Well, why changeling are so distrustful? I actually talked about that just briefly. Just said, yeah, but yeah, he implied that there were, but it's like a bit of misleading there. But it's like, but Odo was reaching with that probing question. But okay, Cronin's actually given like the backstory there a little bit, which is actually factual. The changelings were driven off of Rakar and out of every other places that they were up until like their home world was found and basically obliterated. I was like, crazy. Odo was like, Odo knew he was not going to say anything there. Odo's threatening to kill someone. It's like that's a bit far. I'm not a fan of that because considering that like a man alone was like he got framed for murder. Colony of the Changelings, and it's a cute little pendant and everything that forms a little key. The little animation is similar to Odo's morphing up. Like, here, analyze it. You realize is that he's kind of telling the truth to some degree. I wonder if they ever sold those pendants. Not 100% sure if they did or not. Rio Grande, the Great River. Always remember there's faith, treachery, and then there's the Great River to run about. A homicide? Wow. Avery Brooks' pronunciation of homicide is saying it as homicide is like, really? That's a unique pronunciation. Who bring Crowd in here? Yeah, he was in the custody, but not in our custody here. Yeah, it's interesting. You know, that is so kind of funny with a lot of Star Trek species. Just think about it. There's only a handful, like a new planet and everything. It's like we have no interest in dealing with you people. It's like fuck off. Like what was it? A Taste of Armageddon in the original series is like they basically is like they're happy in their little ongoing computer simulated war where actual people are executed in booths and stuff. But they told us like they had no interest in the Federation showing up until Kirk beams down and basically forces the issue. But it's an interesting thing here. It was like how many species do not want Federation involvement? But let's also factor in a little something here with the Rakar. It's like why does that they want no contact with anybody from the Alpha and Beta quadrants and the wormhole and everything. At this point in time, the Dominion has not been mentioned. The Dominion don't get mentioned until season 2. I'm not talking about the episode titled "The Jemadar." There's an episode like partway through something involving blueberry wine, but I'm not 100%. Only one. It's a distant cousin of Odo. And you don't really see Bashir and Odo interact much, but this is a nice little scene between them. It's like Odo going to Bashir, analyzing it, and everything. It's a wonderful little scene. And there's a sink inside the sink inside the prison cells on the station because he's clearly drying his hands, but the cells and everything with never really looked big enough. I say that though, but I think about the break in Star Trek Five. They have the latrine, and there's something else like that come out of the wall in Star Trek Five, and then there is a couple of the episodes on the Next Generation. You see some breaks, and it appears that there's some other features there. But we know, but the Voyager break didn't look like it had any type of facilities for parent use. That episode was at 30 days, where Janeway put Paris in solitary confinement, violating every rule of treating prisoners imaginable. It's kind of nuts when you It's like what actually is and is not in the holding cell or brigs on the various ships, or in this case DS9. Clearly, there is a sink with a mirror, with a towel. I'm going to assume there has to be a latrine in there too. Hey, funny enough, Odo's getting like the way to escort Crowd into his whole planet. Yeah, you're gonna have to escort the prisoner, and it's funny how this all works out in Croden's favor. Also for Odo, like wanting to investigate the Croden's claims about the finding the changeling planet, the colony, what have you. It, so the whole thing with this whole plot actually comes together quite nicely. There's also, what's also kind of weird? Odo is not a pilot. I don't think, and we're going to get confirmation here lately. There's like most of the stuff is going to be like automated. Or I take that back. He was actually seeing the controls. It's like he knows enough. But I don't think he's much of a tactical pilot. This is me spitballing here. I'm trying to remember stuff that we see later in the series. The visitor has such nice hair, and of course, gotta point out Terry Farrell's like really slick back and pulled it into that snug ponytail. Gotta appreciate that. This is like, gotta comment on the hair. I'm a hair guy. You know what's also a nice little something that you pick up that I pick up on especially with Kira. Whenever something like mischievous, there's like a little trickery is being performed. You almost see here almost always smirk or smile when things seems to work. Kind of cute, adorable. Ask, is Odo happy? No. Odo does not know the meaning of the word happy. Will not know the meaning of the word till like seasons. What was the oh, I don't remember the episode his way was where like where Odo gets help from Vic Fontaine. That was either, I think that's season 6 or 7. I don't remember. I'm not 100% sure. That's when Odo starts feeling happy. That can't be comfortable sitting with one hand tied behind the back. Because I gotta give credit to the guy playing Croden. The fact that he has to sit in that chair with his hands tied behind his back. That is not comfortable at all. So you're gonna have, depending on how long it took for the Sheen's shot, like you'll lose the feeling in your arms a little bit. Croden giving his story to Odo. Here's a nice little. It's a bit graphic. Everything that he's saying is like, geez, like Odo's looking at him and just like turns away. It's kind of weird that Odo turned away when he was like listening to the story. Odo is kind of irritated. You see his eyes shifting here as he's trying to make a decision here. It's a very interesting dynamic there. It's like Odo really looks conflicted on what he should do. Hold on, gold plus platinum on the bar. So was Quark counting the receipts? Uh, you know what's also kind of weird that we don't really see Quark's doors close unless like the lights are totally dimmed. So it kind of makes you wonder what are the operating hours of Quarks? When do they open? When do they close? Quark being like the center is so integral because he is the bartender, and so many people are going to come into his bar. It's funny like how many times like he gets like threatened in some shape, way, or form. Ah, Cardassian isolinear walls. Like there's different ones to use for security measures. And Quark is trying to block the screen and everything. But it's amazing that Quark has access to he has security access up to level 7, I believe. I know there was something involved that his security access ended up being higher than Odo's. Like, dude is going to be back. Well, no, he isn't. Poor Rom is huddling against the bar, the wine rack. Yeah, Odo is not sensible. Yeah, Odo would never give up his prisoner. Rom's sounding so damn hopeful. Again, if you apply the fact that Rom, everything that you see with the Negus and apply it here, that Rom has his level of deviousness, so it's kind of weird. But it's like okay, well, it was just gonna get Odo killed. Oh, you really think so? So he's kind of hopeful there, and it's interesting. It's like how we're seeing Rom here and how he progresses later in the series. Okay. And there goes the Miradorn ship, and it's a good-looking ship. I don't think it's actually been used as a sea store ship in Star Trek Online. Hey, look, it's the Mutara Nebula. Got to go through the vortex. You know what's kind of funny here is like where Crota wants to go is in this vortex and everything. Where do the founder planet gets found? It's like in a nebula or something that they ended up finding it in like the search at the beginning of season 3, if memory serves me right. Odin is just getting into Odo here. They treated me well when I landed in their colony, and it's interesting the decency of justice and everything, and a lot of what Cronin is saying is actually true. But the sense of order is what Odo actually has. Odo can't believe they're being attacked. Miradorn have caught up. Oh, you know, it was like the first. Was it a warning shot? Kind of weird considering how close that I was close enough to shake the ship. And thus, Ron was rewriting hopeful there. That's like, okay, that they will be. There's like, oh, Oda will get cured because he would not turn over his prisoner. And this is where it's like Oda was kind of panicking here, and he mentioned he's a chief, not a combat pilot. And also Odo's hair being a bit out of place, which is something you don't really see a lot of over the course of the series. Like, release the prisoner so he can pilot it. But I was right that Odo is not a combat pilot. He can fly on a basic level, but not enough to do anything beyond that. Into the vortex. Nice moonlighting. What is Tomer? What is Tomer is essentially shoot. There's a I'm trying to think. There was something there, can't think of it. I know what it is. I can't think of it here. There's something if you if you light something. Oh, essentially gas, natural gas. That's what I'm thinking. Like striking a match. Is he gonna take him home? No, he's gonna take him for a bit of a ride. It was all This is a very good episode. It is actually it's moving at a nice pace, and really outside of the side conversation during the opening credit sequence. Not much. I haven't really gone much into sidebars unless it's something here that I'm trying to compare it to another episode. The planet Hell set. The colony is here. It's like enough of it was true. It's like the stories were true that he told them. Like it's like the, the stone. I have a theory about the key. It's like they buy the stones off world from merchants and stuff. I have a theory about the key. Dead. The key was made from a dead changeling. That's a bit morbid, but think about it. If these are keys that require people buying off world and stuff like that for specific locks and things, it's like, okay, how these keys are being made if they have a biological reading that Bashir was able to detect. Why? It's like the key was made from from changeling that was caught, and then put through the proverbial meat grinder or yellow grinder. Figure that one out your own. That bit of logic, but like that is my theory. You won't get that if you're sitting in the target audience. Get my nonsense instead. Uncut, unfiltered. Hence why my things are bigger and longer. It's got a time for fucking South Park references. He was dreaming about him. She was living in a fridge. He's living in a fridge right next to the mayonnaise. I don't know why I was that this inspired me there. Odo is not going to hurt you. He's going to take you someplace safe, or at least in theory. So the question is, would Odo? That actually would be kind of interesting here. Would the situation play out where it's like, okay, would have Odo turned Kroden over one way or another? And here, but the wonderful thing about this scene a little bit though is like Kroden tells Odo his story, and then Odo hears from Kroden's daughter like all he did was protection. He was acting in self defense. So it's like, oh, and Odo's sense of justice is going to be like, you know what? This dude is innocent, and he's going to make a judgment call. So now that said, Odo getting knocked out is not actually possible. He gets knocked out for the purpose of the story, but something like that would not knock out Odo. He's a freaking he's it's like it has to show him getting like a vulnerability. Yeah, he just get like a bump on the head. Odo's weak spot, the back of his noggin, which is it's like yeah, he's not a natural humanoid. Like the realization there. Yeah, you might regret it anyway because the mirror Dorn are out there. And it's kind of weird that Odo's going to come up with the solution here. That Odo's going to be like, yeah, it's going. There's like light the to the light the Tomer fear to deal with the Miradorn problem, which is the same that Odo comes up with this plan. Now, so why would Odo do this? What would inspire him based on what he does? I'm thinking is he's been friends with Kira for a number of years at this in the show. So he would probably heard stories and stuff from her, like and like being. That would be the only thing I can think of. Like, why would he come up with the idea? It's nutty, but it's like it gives an explanation here. Odo does not surrender prisoners. Is what they equip the runabout with phasers primarily. They get torpedoes in the episode The Search. No, the Jem'Hadar they get retrofitted with a torpedo launcher. Like you're firing the photons and he blows up. It's nuclear. The entire thing just goes up in flames. Well, or into a big purplish cloud. He's the only one back there. If there were multiple people on the runabout, that would make sense. Odo's had one hell of a day. Again, that looks like the Mutara Nebula shot from Star Trek 2. It's a hell of a favor that he's going to entrust his daughter with Odo because like you know what it's like to be alone and everything. So it's kind. This could have been an interesting character dynamic. It's a hell of a character reading in there. And it's like, hey, Vulcans were basically absent for most of TNG. You know what's kind of weird about Vulcan ships? If you ever look at them, there's like got that large cylindrical part, then you have the circular module on the back end of it, which is just a weird design. It looks cool, but it's just weird when you think about it. When you compare it to almost every other vessel, But I'm saying it as I'm thinking about it. The circular design with the long centrical piece. You know what? A ship that kind of has like a similar look, but just more in a broader, more threatening look is the Romulan the Derelict class vessels. It has like the big forward piece and the double hull with the notable gap is in between. It's kind of nuts. It's the Vulcan Romulan ships have that kind of in common. Odo will lie; he has no problem with it. Hey, if like it's a touching ending that Crota says like, yeah, he someday he might be able to go home again, and it's like to give him the pendant. And I mean, this is a very wonderful ending here with wait. Oh yeah, that's right. The Cisco and Dax were on the Rio Grande. Odo's piloting the Ganges. Oh, a nice little smile from Odo. Which again, when you see Odo smile, it's like it often means a lot there. And in this case, is him letting that stern facade down just a bit. Again, this is a one. It's a wonderful episode. Nice story pacing. It's entirely focused around Odo, and a little bit with the Mirador and stuff, and Croden and his people. Hey, what's going on here? Uh wow. Okay. Let's had to do something there. Like something was wrong with the disc. Actually, the entire DS9 Complete Series box set is like I have to wedge my DVD player add-on for my computer between two things to keep it from vibrating and shifting too much from side to side because the disc reads so damn fast in comparison to almost every other DVD I've had. Oh, it's doing it again. So we're seeing a technical issue with the disc itself. All right, we want to see the end of the episode. Oh, where is it? This is like we had to like do a little shenanigans there. See, most people will hide this stuff on Patreon with like any technical issues and stuff like that. No, y'all get the full experience here. It's like it took a little resetting there to see like the last 10 seconds of the episode, but come on, man. Um, yeah. Try to put that over there. Um, all in all, as an episode totally focused on Odo, giving some of the backstory and stuff on the changelings, um, everything Cronin says, all the myths and legends, that all like little backstory and stuff as to what Odo's people were and everything, eventually turns out to be true to a very large extent. Other than the fact that the changelings are not really hospitable people, unless you're a Vorta, because because when you think about the changelings, everything about them, the only two species that the changelings actually have any like care for are the Vorta and the Jem'Hadar, which is kind of kind of telling in a way because the Vorta helped to change, cared for a wounded changeling, and when changeling got together to do the Great Link and everything, like that experience came down that there was at least one species that showed them kindness. Then it's like, okay, it's like if we go to power, we're gonna bring the Vorta up with us because they helped us out. They're just like us. They're weak. They're helpless, and everything, and blah blah blah. And everything else about changelings is kind of like, yes, they're all about order and justice, but they're why are they a paranoid species and everything? Because they were hunted, they were persecuted to a very very large degree. They were chased down. I was like, now my dark theory regarding like the key and it having a biosignature similar to Odo's. Yes, those keys that Croton's people get, they're made of changelings. So that's an interesting little thing here. The Miradorn, to my knowledge, don't make another appearance ever again, as far as I know. And neither do Croton's people to Rakar. I don't think there's any species that kind of looks like them that pops up again. Although the Miradorn kind of bear a little bit of similarities to the species that was hunting Tosk and Captive Person. A little bit. There's a little bit of a similarity there. Not much, but a little. Oh, but that species was not exactly named. Excuse me, right? Um, nice moments with Quark and Rom. It's like none of the other cast get to really do anything other than like Cisco meeting a direct first contact with Rakar's people and realizing that hey, there's people in the Gamma Quadrant that don't want fuck all to do with anybody from the other side of the wormhole. Again, we don't know a lot about the politics and stuff at this point in the series of what's going on in the Gamma Quadrant. We don't know, again, at this point in the series, we don't know about the Dominion. Like, why will people. But it's actually kind of reasonable. It's like, why won't people like want to trust others? Like, oh, you come across like there's these new species roaming around. Like, we got our own problems. We don't want fuck on with anybody coming through from the other side of the world of the galaxy. We got our own issues to deal with. Again, and when you think about it, it's kind of like the disappointment one would have with the next generation because there's not really a lot of first contact episodes in the next generation. And then and while at the same time over on Voyager, nearly everything is the first contact episode, and then you realize Janeway is just going to piss everyone off along the way. So it's like with Cisco, it's like, okay, you don't want to deal with us, fine, whatever. That's kind of like Cisco's attitude. Cisco's job is to get Bajor ready for entry into the Federation. That's it. Anything else, not really Cisco's problem. Anyway, that will wrap this up. Thank you very much. If you've made it here to the very end, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Tighten your friendship bracelet, stay safe, and we'll see you next week for the next episode. Bye, folks.